it's me. I am recording this July 30th, 2025 at 11:05 p.m. I hope you're well. Tonight I need to say a few words about my live stream where I talked about time travel. And if you watched my most recent video about old technology rediscovered and the Thule and Vril societies and what was going on with World War II in, 1945 and whatnot. Okay, so in regards to time travel, so we've heard people say that these beings have told them that they are just like us, or that they are us in the future, or that they come from the past, and all these different things, okay? So what I was thinking is that if I were to get into a craft, let's use me as an example right now. If I was to get into one of these interdimensional crafts and I went into, say, a higher dimension, possibly where time flows faster. Now, pause for a second. How you can understand that is that Travis Walton, when he was taken onto that craft, he only thought he was gone for about a couple of hours. He was actually gone for 5 days and had absolutely no idea. He was shocked to find out what I was gone for 5 days. He had no idea. So this got me thinking that if right now, okay, if I was to get into one of these interdimensional craft, go into a higher dimension, I could wait like, I don't know, maybe a month over there, but it might be weeks, months, years over here. You see what I'm saying? So like it would be a great big mystery, like, and I can bring Marvin and Salem with me. That's the thing. So the problem is that if I'm gone for that long, people will think I'm missing. They might pack my apartment up. You'd have to be really clever about these things, so people just don't think you're a missing person all the time. But the thing about it is, like, they could have left at that time and periodically come back to check just to see the conditions of things and maybe determine and decide a day that they may rejoin us, you know? But I would believe it would have to be a time when we were ready for that and understood exactly what it was. Now, I can't be 100% sure, but at this point, with all the bullshit that I've encountered and the truth that I've discovered through people's deceptions and lies, like for example, the Sidhe, I don't think I'm saying that right anymore, but whatever, the Sidhe, which are the Fae, and then Elena Danaan saying that they are inner Earth extraterrestrials, which is not accurate at all. So, I mean, it's a play on words and it's deceptive. You know what I'm saying? So, like, what I'm thinking is that, you know, they may be able to, and there might, what it is that things will cycle. So there was the Germans that discovered this, but then there was like the Aztecs and like the Antediluvian civilization, um, that had figured that out, and then maybe people before them and people before them. You see what I'm saying? Because the technology just keeps getting rediscovered. It's not like people didn't have it before us. And like I was just saying the other day, the Atlantean age didn't have when I was alive in the antediluvian age before my reincarnation here. We didn't even have much of a spoken language, because for the most part it was all like telepathy, and there was definitely no written language. So, and even if there was something like that, I mean, it's so buried deep and whatever and all that. But the point of it is that these things go back through time. So you could essentially be a person that lived in the times of ancient Mesoamerica, whether it be the Toltec, the Aztec, the Mayan, whatever. Um, and they discover this technology, create interdimensional craft, and actually go to the future, but technically they're from our distant past. You see? And I kind of get it. Like and then so the Germans say they go and take the interdimensional craft and they go on to a future timeline where they can develop further and further ahead, which would also make sense. So their society is moving at a much faster rate than it moves here because our space is much more dense than the higher dimensions. You know, it's 11:11 p.m. by the way. Make a wish. Um, I I now understand when I read The Gods of Eden by William Bromley that he referred to it as negotiating. It would be like negotiating our release from this quote unquote prison planet or whatever, would be like negotiating with your SS guards. And I don't know if he knew or not. Um, and this may exactly be why the government feels that these UFO craft are a threat, is because, well, it was the Operation High Jump, the ones that got away. And I have to be really careful about how I talk about things, you see. But if you, ooh, geez, I'm on some dangerous territory right here, everybody. But I, hold on just one second. All right. Well, if you watched my video on the rediscovered technology and Antarctica, New Schwabenland, um, the four worlds symbol of the Navajo and the ancient symbol, not what it is known today as a symbol of hate, the swastika, but in ancient times, it symbolized the four worlds. That's the higher dimensions, the middle, the lower, but the lower dimensions. So there's technically four because there's four different creations. You see? So it symbolizes all the beings of creation. Um, Now, I can't say for sure because I have yet to speak to whoever was in that craft that flew over my building in July of 2017. But it's just around now that I'm truly understanding. So I am honestly hoping that I get the opportunity and maybe even the blessing to be able to negotiate in some way, somehow, to be able to put a stop to this so that we can move forward. You know? If you can understand what I mean, like, because I know I've been a little bit out of sorts these past couple of days and I have not held much back. I am feeling better because I got some weed. And I'm very, very grateful for that and the person who helped me with that, okay? I was really going through it, but before I forget, you know, these were some of the things that I was thinking about. It's not like I just came to this conclusion just now. You know, it's been, I've thought it was odd for some time. But, yeah, so they pop back in, and they can't stay for very long, I would assume, because depending on where you come from, time is still flowing, whether you're there or not. And that's what I was saying. If I left in one of those interdimensional craft, I wouldn't be able to go for long, you know? Because especially even if Marvin and Salem were here, I would have to make sure. I mean, I could probably only stay in a certain higher dimension for maybe a minute, and I might be gone for hours. You see what I'm saying? And a minute doesn't seem very long, but when you're over there, sometimes, even that, the night I seen the being in my room in January 2015, like when I was looking at it, I it was probably like only 15 seconds I was sitting up, but it felt like a freaking eternity. You know what I mean? Like I was only up sitting up like holy shit, there's that being in my room from my dream for like 15 seconds in shock, but it felt like forever. So, I mean, that's what I'm thinking. You know, I hope that I've explained it well. So, if you are an Aztec that took an interdimensional craft to way far in the future, well, you are a time traveler and you are from the ancient past. You're us, you're human. I mean, they're from this civilization, this age. Even back before, I mean, just because, I don't know, I remember being some kind of creature that could be both human and something else, all right? Let's just leave it at that because I'm going to talk about the Antediluvian age and me the best I can as soon as I can, okay? I just need to get my shit together and get this out first before I forget and move on to other things. So, because yeah, I moved past this like already days ago, and I'm into like now I've got some like really cool videos where I'm pretty sure I found some treasure hunters where it's like devastating but exciting at the same time. And I'll explain that because I don't think I've ever said how hard I cried when I seen them, and it doesn't have anything to do with the fact it's Anunnaki. I didn't even know about this stuff back then when this happened, but I remember when a certain what was it, ISIS destroyed those Anunnaki artifacts. I almost had a heart attack and fell over and passed out. You know what I mean? I was so upset because that's our ancient past. The people who made that are never coming back. You know what I'm saying? They're dead, right? And that's so disrespectful to do to their art. And that's part of our history. It's okay if it doesn't agree with you or you don't like it, but you don't have to destroy it. So, oh wow. Anyway, yeah, so that's what I'm into now, way far past this. So I knew that I needed to, because that last live was like 6 hours. So I just kind of wanted to explain this the best way that I understand it and relay it to you and see what you think about it and how you feel, and if it makes sense to you. Because it definitely does for me, and that's why I feel the need at 11:18 p.m. now to share it, when I've really been through it these past few days. And I apologize for that. If I've hurt your feelings or I was too cold and blunt and right to the point, and very prickly like a pear. And we will talk about that, because like I have so many times, and if I could help it, well, I effing would, you know? So, anyway, did I finish what I was saying? I freaking hope so. And I mean, there may have been um, the other creations that discovered this too, you know like they think with Machu Picchu that there was humans but something else living together. Well, that's because there is the other creations and they don't all look like us. um I really believe that, and now, especially through all the experiences and things that I learned, I don't know if you caught that part, but I realized that water is can be symbolic for dimensions. And so when you hear that in like the Bible, it says that the Creator separated the waters above from the waters below. This is separating the higher and lower dimensions away from the middle one. It's clear that the creations of the divine creator just can't get along and live in harmony until we do. I mean, we've tried this cycle through cycle. If you haven't recognized it, these things have happened before, they just don't happen in the same way. Just like with me, you know? I even recognize that, and we'll talk more about that, like I said, about the antediluvian age in my past life more, okay? I'm sorry, there's just been a lot, like, I've been upgrading and learning things myself, and, like, there's so much, but I am getting through it. I'm well. I feel a lot better right now anyway. Was not earlier. But I really wanted to say this before I moved on, because I might forget and think, oh well, if they don't watch it. But I think it was really something exciting that I came to understand, and I wanted to share it with you. So there. And I mean, it could be all of the situation or civilizations. So, like, I'm talking ancient China, ancient Japan, Russia, and I always forget about that, but I'm talking about it in my most recent video, okay, the one that I'm working on right now. Um, and that has to do with like stuff from the Antediluvian age, megalithic sites, and Teotihuacan and shit like that. So, yeah. Anyway, I might just save this and release it after I'm done my videos so that no one um, gets any ideas from me, but too soon anyway. Because it's not like I don't want the concept to be shared, but I just meant about my next video, and then maybe someone will hear this, oh, I'll do a video on this and that, blah, 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 oh, for fuck's sake. You know what I'm saying? So sorry, I don't mean to go into negativity. Even though, like, it's a good thing to process it. Now I just need some time to reflect. But, yeah, I hope that you're all well. It is so smoky that my eyes are burning and my throat hurts. So I'm going to let you go. There's forest fire smoke, and we just went through an awful heat wave, like an unbelievably hot heat wave. So I had like double whammies at every angle, but I made it through, and I'm doing just fine, you know? So thank you to everybody who is there for me and shows me support and kindness, and to others, I hope that you can forgive me for being harsh with you, and that you will stick around, because I definitely don't mean to get this upset and worked up, and it is not fun for me, and I do try to deal with it the best I can, okay? So I'm just pretty tired. I don't want to get into that. It's already mentally exhausting me just mentioning it. But have a good night, everybody. I really hope that this little video here, I know it's just voice, but whatever. I hope that it is beneficial. Take care. Good night. Thank you for watching and listening. Bye. All right, everybody. So to wrap up this particular video about our ancient civilizations, the antediluvian world, and well, it really goes back quite far. And I'm going to try to give you just a little breakdown here at the end of this video. If you would like to see a longer deep dive where I can go into many different things, I will do that. But to wrap this up, I want to start off by talking about how different peoples and civilizations have changed over time. And that we have this version of us now, this vessel. And I expressed this before. Hold on. All right, sorry about that. There was a group of people outside that were being quite noisy. All right, so where we are here is, as I was saying, humanity is a lot older, and we're going to get into that. But I want to start here first, because I know that when I talked about the antediluvian age and giants in the past, like years ago,
when I was active on Facebook and such, that it was mentioned to me by two different groups, Christians and the Muslims. And they both said that there are records that say that Adam was much taller. And well, it was said Adam and Eve were giants. That's what was first said to me. So let me just read to you this. And it says, well, the Bible does not specify Adam's height or physical characteristics. Some theories speculate Adam stood much taller, around 15 feet taller than men today. This speculation is fueled by long lifespans recorded in Genesis, the presence of oversized animals in the fossil records, like dinosaurs and such, theories from the Book of Enoch, and a verse from the Quran. So we're going to take a look at what the Bible says. So you know about how Adam and Eve were first created, and Eve was created from Adam's rib. If you don't know this, there is the best genetic cloning material within the rib. I don't know if you're aware of that, but I found that out over my research. So basically, there have been many versions of people, and when we're talking about giants, I explained, it even goes into this in the Secret Teachings of All Ages, where it says that there were first one-eyed giants that were very, very big, and then two-eyed giants that were a bit smaller. And it goes down through it like this. Now, even the Anunnaki were said to be giants, larger people than us. They looked like us, they were just bigger, and we're going to get there. So they were the first sinners. They ate from the tree of knowledge and of good and evil. And of course, I can go into this a lot more in detail, but we're going to go a little bit just bypassing some of the things that I could say, okay? But the thing about all of this is that our world, regardless of how you see it, whether it be a planet or a plane, is irrelevant at this point in time. But there has been evidence, scientific evidence, proved. Okay, I'm going to give you an example now. I looked for this experiment for a very long time. I know that I've talked about it before. But the Earth had different environmental conditions, different atmospheric conditions. We once had a lot more oxygen. We had more nitrogen and different things in our oxygen environment that allowed for exponential growth, including trees and the other beings that lived upon this place because of the environmental conditions, okay? So I saw this experiment years ago, and I cannot find it again. I would love to see it again and be able to show it to you, but I've searched everywhere and I cannot find it. And if you have any ideas as to what I could search under that I haven't already, it would be extremely helpful and I'd appreciate it. So let me explain to you what I observed. It was this middle-aged fella. He was tall and slender, a Caucasian man. He was, I believe, affiliated with some type of university or some school of science or whatever. See, it's vague, but I'm going to do my best. Anyway, the point of it is that he had this tank that looked like almost like a large Tic Tac. It was like submarine style. It was sealed completely. And he had oxygen, the radiation. He basically did the scientific application of what Earth, or like applied what he is thought to be, you know, how they go back in the past, and put these, this tank with the conditions of prehistoric times, okay? That's basically what I'm trying to tell you. I'm not a scientist. I'm doing my best here. I wish that I could explain it better. Unfortunately, this is the best I can do. So in this tank, it was full of water. It had the pressure and everything like that. This man took piranhas that were the size basically of your hand. Not a large hand, just a small, my hand. I wish I could show you at this time, but basically the hand with the fin and everything. They're not very big, these piranha. He put them in there under these conditions and they grew to an enormous size. Okay? It was pretty extraordinary to see. It had small portholes on the side. It was it looked like almost like a decompression chamber that you would get into after you've been down in the ocean for a while. But like I said, it's like a submarine. It had these tubes to feed the oxygen and everything else, the lighting conditions and all of that. Okay, but basically, he proved that with different environmental conditions, that things can grow freaking huge. I mean, the size of these fish was incredible. And it's just a shame that I could not find it to show you. So, if you'd like a mission, you could try to look for an experiment like that. But I don't know. I mean, he was like in what looked to be a research room. It had a lot of clutter and stuff, but this is common for scientists. They just got a lot of stuff lying around. You never know when you could use a certain part. I get it. Um, but it was very eye opening to me. I mean, I always knew that, this is how dinosaurs were this size, and even at one time there were giant dragonflies that had like the 6 foot wingspan, okay? So we really did have different types of beings. Not only animals, larger animals, but we were here a long, long time. So I'm really digressing. So in the Islamic tradition, in the Quran, it says Adam was 90 feet tall or 60 cubits tall. That's really big, okay? But even 15 feet or 90 feet, this is very big. So the lifespans began to shorten with the flood. So after the flood happened, because this is like, let's just say the experiment got out of control and needed to be reset due to, the shenanigans that had gone on. And again, this is the Antediluvian age, the time that I was reincarnated from that age to this age. Um, and so, I'm trying. I don't remember a lot. A lot of it, of course, I brought with me was just the lessons to share with you. And, I'm going to get to the part where our people's, our records of information was kept through storytelling. And, we drew pictographs on the walls, but we told stories with our peoples. We were a lot tribal like, but we weren't caveman like. And this is what I'm trying to get at, because it is a big shame that our ancient peoples are thought of as like cave peoples that didn't know anything. And it's kind of a disrespect to them. So, okay, so I've gone over this, the shorter lifespan. So because of things changing in the environment as well, like the oxygen level, there just wasn't enough to, and even the aether, it had changed. And that was one of the things that kept us healthy. But there were other things, let's say technologies, that isn't the technology we know today, but using sound, energy, frequency, and vibration. But I was going to even go into what the giant bells and stuff like this, their usages and stuff for healing, but also keeping away lower dimensional entities that can't handle those types of harmonics and frequencies. It disharmonates them. It basically cancels them out in a way. So this was one of the ways that we kept these things away from our towns and cities. But again, these giant peoples, I'm going all over the place because there's so much information. Goodness gracious. But it also explains megalithic structures and the indigenous legends of them, fighting cannibalistic giants and such, okay? It all comes together and connects together. But it's because the timeline is so, so, so much longer. And if you're not, okay, so Goliath's height, like David and Goliath, that's another instance. These are one of the older civilizations of peoples that came before our version of peoples. I don't know if I mentioned this yet or not, because I couldn't remember what I said in the first minute of my video before I was interrupted. But if you think of it like this, the PlayStation 2, or say the original computer, was freaking huge. It had all these different processors. Remember, like, the original computer had like a room of processors and all that? And then it kept getting smaller to now we have our little cell phone that we can use as a computer. It's kind of like this. The model just got smaller with the, kind of attributes, the look of it changed, some of the abilities of it changed, or it kind of did things differently. I think you know where I'm going with this. I hope that this analogy works, because it definitely worked for me. Like, it's just different vessels over time have changed, but the timeline is much, much, much older. Okay? So, if you want to read about this, I'm gonna leave all of these links down below, but we are going to move on over to this. So what this is, I knew about this years ago, and there are many more examples of this where giant footprints have been found. Like I said, I'll do a longer one. But this right here, this is where human and dinosaur footprints have been found together in the same timeline. Okay, I'm going to go over this with you. This is the Dinosaur Valley State Park, Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. Okay, dinosaur and human tracks have been discovered together in supposed 110 million year old crustaceous rock layers in the river bedrock of the Paluxy River near Glen Rose, Texas. The evidence is highly controversial. See, there's a big problem, is that science would need to be rewritten. All these scientists need to go back and say, this and that. And this is a big hassle, and a lot of people's egos are involved, and we know this. So just let's continue. The evidence is clearly controversial, primarily due to the clear death sentence such evidence would render for the millions of years required for evolution to have occurred. So yeah, evolution has taken place over a very long time. But I mean, it's been a lot longer than, and I think that they've hidden this because they would have to explain a lot more. Okay? But also, our physical characteristics have changed just within humanity, within, like, Neanderthal and such. Did I cover everything about this in Historic Discovery? Claiming someone? No. So what did it say? The claim of forgery has been debunked by cross-sectioning impressions under magnification. A fake would be easily detected, and as any would indicate tampering or carving. Here, randomly cut cross-sections of the eternal rock structures show the patina erosion contours of the impression. These structures conform to the shape of both the heel and the great toe impression of the human impressions, demonstrating that this is an authentic human impression in Jurassic limestone alongside known dinosaur footprints. Dinosaur and human tracks have been discovered together in the supposed 110 million year old crustaceous river bedrock of the Paluxy River, Glen Rose, Texas, where evolutionary philosophers criticize. Okay, I've already read this before. Okay, so this is just one example, but there are tons. There are also examples of footprints. I might pause and we'll look for that, but I just want to go over a couple things. Giant footprints in different kinds of mud and stone, kind of like this here, that looks like it was at mud at one time. You see what I'm saying? It kind of like sunk in. It kind of looks like this, but it's a giant's footprint, and it's on the side of a boulder. And it is pretty incredible. So we'll try to look for that, but I'm going to move on just for a moment, because as we've seen down here, okay, about human evolution, okay, so we should be sharing, just let me check here. Okay, yeah. So on this tab here is the evolution of the human face. And this is what I'm talking about. Our ancient peoples may look alien to us because Over long periods of time, humans developed unique facial features to enhance recognition, communication, which has been crucial for forming social bonds and networks. So, with our facial expressions, and if you have telepathy, you wouldn't have that many facial expressions. So, this is why some of these beings look the way that they do. Some of them will look a little bit Neanderthal like. And there is pictures where the forehead is a little bit pronounced, like a bigger cranium, where they have these looks, because there's been cycles. These things repeat. People that thought the gods were coming down many, many cycles before us, either gods or aliens. Okay? So the human face has changed drastically. We've all seen pictures like this, okay? And then like this. And as they evolve further, depending on their environment, if it's low light, they would become paler, their hair would become lighter, and such. And I'm talking about if they go into the interdimensions or whatever and go onto a quicker timeline, then they would be basically time traveling to the future where they would be evolving on a different timeline than us. And a lot of these interdimensional things didn't always require craft. You could do harmonic resonance and open natural portals and just walk in to different dimensions. So there's a lot of evidence that our faces and our bodies have changed over time. Okay? And now I believe, yeah, like I said, you can go, and I encourage you to do your own research. See, I've clicked here the evolution of the human face over the last 6 million years. So the face and skeletal structure, and especially like I was saying, due to environmental factors, you would have larger growth, like we already went over.